What's up guys, Fred here, and we're learning how to remove anything in Photoshop, and this is already part number 2 of this series basically, because during the last lesson we learned spot healing brush tool. Now we're going to learn healing brush tool and what it actually does. So this is actually a more advanced tool, I would say, and it's more manual. While the first one was automatic, the second one is more manual. How it actually works, let's select it. So the first thing we need to do is go here and make sure you select a new layer, so we have a new empty layer. Then go to sample and select all layers. Okay, so if you watched the previous lesson where we were talking about the first tool here, oops, yep, the first tool is this one. It also had sample all layers, but it looked a little bit different. This tool here, healing brush tool, also has sample, and we also need to select all layers. Okay, and I explained in previous lesson why actually we need to do that. So if you didn't see that, then just go and watch the previous lesson. Anyway, let's continue. So first of all, make sure this is selected, sample layers. Make sure mode is just normal and source is sampled. So let's see what it does. Let's make my brush a little bit bigger so we can just go here and increase the size a little bit. Okay, so first of all, we need to select some areas that we want to copy. Basically, let's say we want to remove some points, like let's say we want to remove this point, let's remove this point. What we need to do, you have to hold Alt if you're using Windows. If you're using Mac, you have to hold Option. So when we hold Alt or Option, we see this kind of icon appear, and for example, I can click once. I click once. Now you can release Alt or Option button. Now when I have clicked, I move my mouse. See what happens? You see the area where I clicked, it's removing with my mouse. So basically now I can copy this area to some other place. For example, I can press here. You see it's gone. I can press here, it's gone. I can press here, it's gone. So basically now I'm copying this area to some other places. I can press here, it's gone. Again, let me explain again. For example, let's say I want to copy his eyebrow to this place, just for an example. Again, let's make our brush, in this case, a little bit bigger. So we can just press right button on our mouse, and we can increase the size from here, or of course you can go and do it from here as well. Let's make it even bigger. Okay, so now again, let's hold Alt or Option. We press and then we release Alt or Option. So now when we drag this, you see the eyebrow. And for example, now if I press once anywhere, the eyebrow is here. But what if I want to draw the whole eyebrow? So we can just press and drag, and when we press and drag, see what happens. It doesn't only copy the place where we clicked, it continues to copying everything basically. And if you look up to the original eyebrow, you will see a plus there. So look to the original eyebrow right now, you see a plus there, right? And for example, again, when I continue drawing the plus, for example, see now below, you see a plus below where I'm drawing. Plus basically shows what I'm copying right now. If I go down, it's going to copy the eye. And for example, again, we can do the same. We just hold Alt or Option, and then we can just draw it anywhere. So, but as you can see, it doesn't fully copy the exact image. You can see that this one is brighter, because this tool actually doesn't copy brightness and colors mainly. It only copies the texture and also some colors and some brightness, but not 100%. And that's actually really good, because it's actually trying to adapt to the area that's located below. So let me show you what I mean. First of all, yeah, this looks horrible. Unless you love some kind of freaky edits, I would say. Anyway, let's go. Let me put some other image here, press OK, and I want to delete the other images that we worked on. Anyway, let's take the move tool and move it a little bit up, and again let's create a new layer. So every time we start working, we need to create a new layer. Let's go here and choose healing brush tool. So let me show you the difference again. So for example, let's make this bigger a little bit. Let's hold Alt or Option, press here, and now we have copied. And let's say I want to copy this guy here. So if I start drawing, see what happens. You see it actually copies the not robot, but this is a guy from Star Wars movie. Not guy, but like the soldiers. I don't know what's their names. Anyway, he copies, the brush tool copies this guy, and it actually tries to apply the color and the brightness of the layer below. So if it turns off, you see it's kind of brown and it's bright, and that's what it actually does. So here it was blue, here it's already brown, so it applies to the layer below it. Again, if we do it, for example, here, it's going to do the same. It tries to, it tries to copy. You see, that's actually great. So for example, let's say we take this image, let's again hold Alt or Option, and we want to copy it here. You see the difference is that here it's really bright and here it's really dark. For example, but if I start coloring, see what happens? It adapts, basically. It adapts to the darkness and brightness of this place. As you can see now, it looks so realistic. I mean, you won't even know that here the second window wasn't even here. It looks like it was always there. And that's really cool. So again, let's delete this layer, and so we don't need this edit, and let's create a new layer. So yeah, and let me just go back. As you understood, for example, all the edits that we do happen on new empty layer, and that basically means that our original image is always or so it's always original. So we can just turn off the edits that we want to delete, and we can just delete them. That's really good because we don't edit the original image, but we apply some edit to it, and we can always turn them off or turn them on. Now let's continue. So now let's see what else do we have here. So right now we were using source sampled. Basically that was the sampled things that we were drawing. And now we want to do pattern. Pattern is a little bit different. So it doesn't really copy stuff, but we can choose any pattern here. For example, this one, let's say. And if I start drawing, see what happens. It applies this pattern to the area where I'm drawing. Or if I'm doing it here. And as you can see, the colors are changing as well a little bit. So here it's kind of brown, here it's kind of really bright, so it's different. I can also change any, choose any other patterns. Of course, you can create your own patterns as well, but we're not going to discuss here because this is not a video about patterns. And as you can see, when I draw, it tries to adapt to the image below. So here's blue, here's kind of brown. Let's do this. So what I want you to show else, for example, let's say you want to change the pattern of this building. Again, let's create a new layer. Let's go here and let's choose this one. Let's see how it looks like. Yeah, as you can see, for example, when I draw with this, it looks pretty awesome, because if I make it really accurate, you won't even know that this pattern wasn't here. For example, if I make it really accurate, you will think that this building was created with this pattern already, and that's really cool. Like this, just an example. I'm not going to do this really accurate right now, but just to show you. So you see, it looks so natural. You can't even say it was Photoshop. It will do the same here, and that's really awesome. And I think actually, let's choose, for example, some different pattern. Let's say this one, and draw it here. So the problem with this pattern is, as you can see, it also adapts to the image below, but you can kind of say that it was Photoshopped. It's not that real. So what we can actually do, because we were doing it on your new layer, so let's delete this new layer and create a new layer again. So let me just draw it and show you what actually you can do to make this look better. So because we were drawing it on a new layer, first of all, we can go to opacity and make down the opacity, and it looks now more realistic. Okay. Another thing we can actually do, let's make this 100. We can go to blending mode, which is normal right now, and choose, for example, darken, multiply. For example, if we choose darken, it looks realistic. Dark, that also looks realistic. Let's see. This also looks nice, but yeah, I would say darken looks the best. And for example, if I continue drawing right now, it's going to look pretty realistic. So that's really cool thing about this healing brush tool. Another thing you can actually do with it is actually continue drawing some stuff. For example, let me show you one more example so you get it completely, because this is really cool tool. So let me just find the perfect image for this example. Okay, this one. Okay, again, let's delete the layers below. We don't need them. Let's create a new layer. So for example, right now, let's say you see this pattern here, these dots. Let's say you want to continue them. Just let's say you want to continue as an example. So what we can do, so we can hold Alt or option if you're using Mac, and then we can copy this. Also make sure you have here sample source sample selected, not pattern. Okay, sample is all layers. So again, we can hold Alt or option, and when you do that, see what happens. It actually copied these 3 dots, and right now I can just draw and see what happens. It will continue drawing the dots. Well, yes, it adapts to the place below, to the image below, because you can see it's kind of red because this is red as well. But for example, if we draw on the same place, for example, let's say we Alt or option copy here, and if I draw, see what happens. You see, it draw a new line, and you won't even realize that the thing was never there. So that's really awesome. That's it basically for this lesson, guys. And during the next lesson, we are going to see what patch tool does, and then content aware move tool, and also red eye tool. So see you guys till the next lesson. Bye.